What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to kind of share this little lick in 7. Well, you can play it as a groove, as a lick, as a fill. 7 and 4 are interesting together because you can play 7 against 4, or either one of those metrics into one another pretty easily. But it takes a little bit of figuring out and just getting comfortable with playing in 7 at first to kind of get into that. But every other time, the beat 1 will match back up again with your quarter note pulls. So if you're playing like 7/8 versus 4/4, that kind of idea. You can also count, instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can count it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and so I'm leaving off that 8th note on the and of beat 4, because you're just counting 7 notes that way instead of 8th notes, right? You leave the and of beat 4 off that way. So there are multiple ways to count 7 as well. You can divide them into smaller numbers, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's because you have 2 plus 3 is 5, right? Plus 2 is 7. So just however is easiest for most, different. And when you construct different patterns, you're also anchoring around different parts. So whatever is easiest for you to count 7 in. But my point being that if you're keeping like a quarter note going, quarter note pulse on one limb, and I'm going to play the bass drum on beat 1 together, the second time beat 1 will not fall with the hat, but every other time then beat 1 will line back up again with where the quarter note falls on my left foot, okay? So I'll demonstrate that for you, but it's going to be basically with my left foot, I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, while on my other side, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So see on that one, how it comes back in on that quarter note? So if I'm counting, okay, and I'll start with the bass drum this time, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So that's what I mean by every other time your beat 1 will come back around with that quarter note that you're keeping. But now getting to the lick, this one, just kind of laying the groundwork there for some stuff with 7 and 4 and what it's like to kind of feel 7s versus feeling 4s. We're used to feeling things in 2s or 4s, right, as drummers, but feeling things in odd numbers usually takes more getting used to. So this lick now, and I just call it that because you can use it in a variety of ways, but if you're playing in 7, if that's the reason I say it's a lick that goes into 7, because you can play this within 7 as a full pattern as well, okay? So the sticking for it is right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left. Seems simple enough, right? But once you get it up to speed, you're playing a whole sequence of one of those for every one of your quarter notes, okay? So it can be pretty quick, because then eventually once you get it up to speed, it's like a... Okay, so, and you're trying to accent with your dominant hand, so right hand for me. So I'm doing a right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left. Accenting and kind of ghosting it with my left hand, okay? So if you were to play that just as a reoccurring pattern, stacking the bass drum with your right hand with those accents, okay, for your sticking, and I'm just showing this sticking all on the snare. Now if you move it anywhere, just a hat, or I'll just put it on the ride so you can hear it, then you can just keep it in a pattern, and you can hear how it's not quite falling within the 4s, right? Not falling in 4 because it's within 7. So it's... Okay, easy enough, right, for if you're just keeping a reoccurring thing going for playing in 7. But what we're going to do with this now is we're going to put it within 4, okay? So we're basically like putting a 7 against 4, okay? In that kind of a feel. So you kind of have to get, if you're not used to playing in 7, that takes some getting used to. But it's very useful. It's a lot of fun as a drummer. As drummers, we love to play in 7, right? And there's some really great songs in 7 too, or mixed meter stuff too. But 7 and 4 work really, really well together. They're compatible, and it just kind of like, if you want to put something interesting in a song, or just like a bar of that lick in 7 in something that's in 4/4, that's kind of how you're doing it. You can kind of, so basically for our purpose, since we're doing a 7/8 thing, you can look at 4/4 like 8/8, if that makes sense, with one of the notes cut off. So 4/4, just think of it as 8/8 into 7/8, right? So 7/8 versus 8/8. So mathematically, if you kind of think of it in that way, or that you're leaving that and of beat 4 off if you're just counting those 7 notes, okay? So the way that we're going to use this is we're going to go from the snare to the hat with the rights, or with your dominant hand, okay? Not forgetting to stack the bass drum on those. Bass, 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 bass. Okay? And remembering right, left, right, left, left, 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 right, left, right, left, left. Okay? And we're going to do a series of 4 of those sequences for where every 1 quarter note equals for every 1 quarter note. Guys hear it? So under that quarter note, okay? So now to fit it into, what I was getting around to all along is putting it in our little lick, playing in 4. So I'm just going to choose an easy pattern in 4 just for demonstration purposes. I don't know, just choose something like a... Okay? I'm going to play 3 bars of that. And then after I play that for 3 bars in 4, now I'm playing a pattern in 4 right there. That wasn't in 7, okay? On the 4th bar, I'm going to use that lick in 7 that fits into 7 within 4, and on those 4 quarter notes. Now, when coming out of it, you have to do to come back into beat 1 of your pattern. And that's pretty tricky. That's the trickiest part is coming out of it, I find, because you're doing. You can think of it as like a 8th tied to 2/16. So I just mean with that, because that first bass drum note, the 8th note, is part of the accenting stroke, right? Where part of the lick where you're accenting, and then coming back in to beat 1 is kind of doing like a 1. So bump ba bump, bump ba bump, 1. So coming back into the 1. Okay? So with playing within 4, I'm going to play that pattern, and then on the 4th bar, well, I might as well just play then. Okay, so sorry, I just kind of went into it and started having fun with it. So that's where it can fit in, though, is if you're feeling that quarter note pulse, feeling your 8th notes, and then figuring out, okay, so for every 1 quarter note that I'm playing, I'm basically anchoring myself around. Okay, you hear it? So that first on the quarter is where you start that first right. Okay, and so then you have to play enough, so 4 beats worth of those. until you have to come back into your pattern for that part. It's a cool one, guys. It really is, I promise. And you can really start to adapt playing more embellishments with it, where then you're including more embellishments within the bass drum or your hands. But you want to just get that primary figure down and get the sticking for that down before you start kind of exploring with it. You can use it as a fill on the toms. I mean, you can use it all over the place. That's why I'm kind of introducing it, because it's super, super useful and you can apply it, but it's still interesting and unique because it's like a lick from 7, So you can use it as a, just moving around the toms. I'm just having fun with it, but just moving that accented stroke around to wherever you like, to use it within a fill context. Kind of idea, okay? But the cool part about it is when you're just playing and grooving, and you can kind of just sneak it up into there at any little point, like it's like you don't have to play for a full bar, or like just playing it one time now and then. I'm just kind of having fun with it, obviously, but that way you can just experiment with it to get a feel of where's my underlying pulse, how am I feeling my 7s, how am I feeling my 4s, how do my 7s go into my 4s, and it really turns into a much more useful overall skill with playing within odd metrics, or just getting comfortable with things that you're usually not used to playing, because just playing in 7 alone can be awkward at first, like quite awkward. So we always say, like, you want to anchor yourself around beat 1 in those patterns, no matter what you're playing. If you're playing 7/4, 7/8, 7/16, whatever the case may be, but you want to get a sense for just how it is to. Most of the time, you're going to be playing in 7/8, I suppose, but 7/4 and 7/8 most of the time. So you can just get a sense for playing patterns in that, but you want to anchor yourself around beat 1, like 1. Where you're like really making an emphasis on 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, that kind of an idea, okay? So that way you won't confuse or like lose your bandmates, or get people like all lost to where they're at, or where beat 1 is at, especially if you're playing something in 4 and then all of a sudden you whip out something in 7. You're a lot of time like if it's not rehearsed, or bandmates aren't used to playing stuff in 7, it can really throw everyone off. So you want to be careful with when you choose to use it, but at the same time, the more you use it, the more you'll get comfortable with it, and you'll kind of see where you can apply it in a variety of contexts. So I don't know. I find it's a cool one, and I've just been playing a lot of like little math games with playing in 4 and playing in 7, setting a metronome to 4, but then playing 8 bars of 7/8 to have the 1 line back up again with playing it. So a click going in 4/4, but then e da 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 e da 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 as that kind of thing with the metronome going on while I'm playing. That's where the 1 would line back up with the metronome going e da 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 e da da da. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused with what I'm saying, like, well, wait, a pattern in 7 lines back up in 4 every other time. No, what I was saying is that the quarter note that I was playing over here, if I'm doing kind of a polyrhythm thing where I'm keeping quarter notes pulse going on over here, starting on the 1 together, that my 1 will offset with my hat in that middle bar until I play it another time to every other time it will come back around where my left side or my hat will stack again with the bass drum. Okay, so that's what I meant. Please don't get confused between like just playing 2 bars of 7/8 will then match back up on the one of playing 1 or 4 bars of 4/4, whatever it would be. But that way you're kind of getting a sense of, well, how many bars are passing of each one before the one lines back up of both meters mixed together, not just like a quarter note being played within 7, if that makes sense. There's a difference there, okay? So anyway, have fun with it. Just kind of anchor yourself around it. If you play, so little metronome games, or you set something, you set metronome to 7, and then you just play that one, play the pattern in 7 to get comfortable with it first. Just get comfortable with it, because with your clicks going, where that high pitched or whatever settings you have for your metronome, but usually the high pitched sound is beat 1, for you. So set your click to that, set it to 7. Make sure you got that nice and consistent feel going on within 7. Then you can set your metronome to 4/4, and remember of what I was saying, that for every 1 quarter note, you're playing that whole series of right, left, right, left, left. Right, left, right, left, left equals 1 beat of it in 4/4, or 1 quarter note, okay? So for every 1 quarter note, you're playing that. Because your pulse would be, that's your quarter note pulse, and then that's your 1/8 notes before you're playing it. Okay, so if you just kind of anchor yourself around what's my simplest division, what's my pulse, how am I anchoring myself around the sticking of it, then start to stack your bass drum with it. And then remembering on that last one, after you've played 4 quarter notes worth, you have to come out of it in a, with that, just to make it work out kind of mathematically, you have to, you could come out of it in other ways too, just kind of like a, and a 1 on your hands instead of doing it with the bass drum. But it really is a great exercise to stack all those bass drum notes, because you're playing one here too of the bass, 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 bass. So if you put it all together. So over here, if you add that one, now you're doing 2 1/8 notes, then tied to a 16th. If you think about it, like they were like 2 8s and then 2 16ths. Bump, 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 bump. And that's the tricky part, is getting those bass drums to all accented notes to also line up with your sticking of your ghosted notes, because it feels, some of them stack, some of them don't. It takes some good independence, practice and work to get those out. But I promise they'll pay off, and then you can start just adding more accents and embellishments to it. Okay, have fun with it, guys. It's a fun one. It's a really fun one. Patterns, fills, using meter games, putting them, into each other, representing like how can I play 7 within a 4 context, or how can I use a 7 lick within a 4 context. It's really kind of adds some little spice and some really cool stuff in there. So I don't know. Enjoy, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I do. It's a fun one. It's a cool one. And it really can morph into a lot of other cool possibilities too. So enjoy, guys. Happy drumming, everyone.